welcome to the evening session of the February 6th meeting of the Johnston County Board of Commissioners. I would like to note that we opened our morning session with prayer and the pledge. We will not do that again, but I did want everybody to know we opened with that. I have a couple of announcements, one related to board appointments and the other two relating to two cases that are postponed. But this morning we had three boards that we had more applicants than we had positions open. And just want to announce the results of that. We had the Airport Authority Board. Ken Jones was selected to be on the Airport Authority Board. The Board of Health for the general public, Ray Stott was reappointed to that. And for the Johnston County Planning Board, we had Will Letchworth and Brooke Holmes that were reappointed. And new appointees were Jared Crenshaw, Jay Sasser, and Gary Lovering. And then, as stated before, there were two cases, cases 2217 and 2218 for Shenandoah Homes. They've requested that these be postponed until the April 3rd meeting, 6 o'clock meeting, and we will postpone those two cases during the approval of the agenda. So with that, I will move to the approval of the agenda and list for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda, postponing cases 22-17 and 22-18 until April 3rd, 2023 at 6 p.m. meeting, along with the any other changes that the board wishes to make.
I second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Agenda's approved. Next up, we have public comments, and this is a time for any member of the public to come forward. You have 3 minutes to speak, and on any item that is not already on the agenda, I just ask that you keep things in that are maintain proper decorum and make your comments in a civil manner. And if you would, when you come forward, please state your name and the town or township you're from. And just a reminder for both this board and the public that this is an opportunity for the commissioners to listen and not an opportunity to engage in debate and conversation. So with that said, if you'd like to speak, please come forward. Mr. Weber, welcome back.
Yes, good evening once again. Just wanted to let you know really quick, I did bring a couple students with us today that are going to be speaking just for a few minutes of your time. We appreciate your time. They just wanted to express their thanks for your support and express their interest in future flight training that we bring here with Blue Line to Johnston County. So with that, I'll invite them to come up and just for a few minutes of your time. We do appreciate it.
Okay, good. Thank you.
How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Jordan Nelson, 34 years old, from Hickory, North Carolina. Currently a student at Blue Line Aviation. My wife and one-year-old daughter currently still live in Hickory. So I hope to eventually complete my training with Blue Line and ultimately become an instructor with them and move my family here to continue aviation career. So I think the opportunity that Blue Line has given many people to do something like that is tremendous. So I think that being able to move my family here and continue to grow our family in Johnston County is a great opportunity. So I just want to give thanks to Blue Line and to you guys for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Best of luck.
Good luck with your career.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your time. My name is Brandon Lau. I'm from Colorado Springs, Colorado. I'm also a student at Blue Line Aviation. I used to be a police officer for the Colorado Springs Police Department, but that wasn't something I wanted to retire doing, and I didn't know what to do next. So I started looking into becoming a pilot because I saw American Airlines was having a huge sign-on bonuses, but you had to already be a pilot to be able to apply for them. So then I started to look into how do I get a pilot's license. And every school I found was at least a year long or longer. Blue Line was the only school that was less than a year to get your pilot's license and then be able to move on to get eventually your ATP license to go to the big airlines. So that was what brought me out here. One of the cool things that I've got to learn was that people from all kinds of states are out here, so far I've never met any two people from the same state. So to me, it's just been cool to get everybody here, bring people from other states. My family has wanted to move to North Carolina, but honestly, we never thought of Smithfield and even knew it was a city until I came here to Blue Line, and now because of it, I think it'll bring our family here and bring just more business and more. It's been a great place to do school at, and so it's a place that I think I'll be here for a while, not just to do the schooling, but then to move on and do the next thing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is David Munoz Jr. I'm a student currently attending Blue Line Aviation's Career Pilot Program. As two of my prior classmates also mentioned, Blue Line went ahead and bring a lot of folks from all over the country to this community. Me and my roommates on multiple nights, multiple occasions, have gone throughout this city and the towns surrounding it, gone ahead and getting to know the people, getting to know what's available, kind of exploring as a pilot's mentality would care to take. Blue Line Aviation goes in ahead and brings people from all over the country to do just that very thing. And without Blue Line, I wouldn't be here. And I would just like to take a moment to appreciate them and thank them.
Where you from, David?
Yeah, where you from?
Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rowan Driscoll. I'm actually from the UK, and I am Blue Line Aviation's current international student. So really what I want to say is just, well, start with thank you, because since I've arrived here, my biggest worry really was not feeling welcomed, and since my arrival into Smithfield, I've felt like this is like my more home than what I actually expected to say. But from support from Blue Line and the structure of the whole program, I have just felt just more than just welcomed and really comfortable. So I could really say that I would definitely consider staying here, calling this my permanent home if I'm able to. So I just want to say thank you to Blue Line and to the whole of Smithfield really, because I just really feel welcomed. So thank you.
Thank you.
You need to work on the accent a little.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Tyler Glackham. I'm from Wilmington, Delaware, 26 years old. I'll keep it short and sweet. I'm a student at Blue Line. I've always wanted to be a pilot, and I started doing research, and Blue Line's one of the top schools in this nation. They really are committed on getting you in and out of here. But I think I really want to stay on and become an instructor here, just because I really like the, I guess, the vibe and the environment of Johnston County. It really, I'm from Northeast, so it's a lot harder. It's like, you got to work, and, it's not like more of a loving vibe from down here. And I really appreciate, Johnston County. It's really been a good home. So that's all I really have to say. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening.
Good evening.
So my name is Leslie Jordan. I am a Johnston County native. I'll try to help them with their accent while they're here.
Have you introduced them to red hot dogs? This is
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying.
Okay,
I really am.
Thank you for your service.
You're welcome. So, of course, I've been here for 43 years. So, for me, as a Blue Line employee, it's really been an honor to see, as you can tell, people from various locations coming here to Smithfield. Because when I was younger, who would have thought Smithfield would have had an airport, much less a flight school that someone can actually come to and achieve their dreams and their goals. As we continue to grow and expand and grow the dorm across the street, I would like to ask for the extra support when those plans start going into place and everything starts moving. Right now, I am monitoring the housing for us. We have over 80 students in housing. Right now, those 80 students reside in Clayton. And yes, it's still inside Johnston County, but I would like to see that in Smithfield. And those 80 students going downtown to the local restaurants here, the coffee shops here, bringing the economic growth into the town of Smithfield, as well as Johnston County as a whole. So thank you for your time. We just ask for your continued support as we grow and expand, and look forward to getting bigger. Thank you.
How many total students do you have?
We have over 100 right now, and then 80 that come into housing, because of course they come from other states or countries.
So over 100 students.
Yes, sir. And we add every week. There's a new class that starts every Monday. So we just added 6 more students to enrollment this week. By the end of the month, we'll add 13 more.
And how long does the class last?
5.5 months. And then most of them will stay on with us as instructors. And then they're here for a year, unless they stay permanently on with us as employees.
All right.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Gordon.
you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? All right, and Madam Clerk, no emails for this. All right, then we will move on to our public hearings. First up, I will say, just a reminder, cases 22, 17, and 18 were postponed. And we'll move on to case 2231. So I will open that rezoning hearing, and I will ask Mr. Newton to come forward with some background and lead us in discussion on that.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Board. Your first case this evening is 22-31. This is a petition to rezone 2.63 acres located at 4631 NC 42 West in Clayton Township from agriculture residential to general business. The surrounding land uses, just moving on to surrounding land uses, primarily surrounded by residential and agricultural uses and mixed-use development, as well as general business, and consisting of various retail establishments. The traffic along Highway NC Highway 42 West at this particular location is 16,500 vehicles per day. This is a 2021 count. And this does appear on our comprehensive transportation plan as a boulevard needing improvement. This area is noted as a primary growth area in our comprehensive land use plan. Be glad to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Any questions for Mr. Newton? All right, hearing none, we'll ask that the applicant come forward. How are you? If you would state your name and address, please.
Douglas Cooper, 7412 Cornet Way, Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm with Bateman Civil Survey, the engineers, so the owner's representative for this case.
Okay. Any comments you need to add to the record?
Not unless you guys have any questions. I don't think so.
All right. Any questions?
At this point, you don't know what's going to be there?
No, they haven't decided a specific use, but it will fit within the general business zoning as requested.
Right.
All right. Without any questions, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So any other body wishing to speak on this, have any public comments, please come forward. All right, seeing none, I will close the public discussion portion of the hearing and ask for Mr. Newton to come forward and summarize and present the planning board's recommendations.
Yes, sir. As it relates to case 22-31, Planning Board does recommend approval and offers for your consideration a statement of consistency.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Newton? All right, I will close the hearing and turn it over to the board for deliberation and/or a motion. Don't everybody speak at once. Awkward silence.
Chairman, I'd like to move that we adopt a statement of consistency resolution as presented in the agenda packet and approve the rezoning request. For case 2231? Yep. I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next up, we have case 2232. I will open the rezoning hearing and ask Mr. Newton to present the background information.
Yes, sir. Case 22-32 is a petition to rezone 16.584 acres located in the northeast and southwest corners or quadrants of Thanksgiving Road at NC 42 in Wilder Township. From agriculture, residential to general business, these are 3 tracts. 2 of these are located in that southwest quadrant and the one in the northeast. 2 in the northeast and 1 in the southwest. Owners Black and Gray LLC, Black and Gray 2 LLC, and Big Rooster LLC. Applicant Lipscomb Development. The existing or surrounding land uses consist of agricultural and residential uses and a general business use, and that's it, a special use district or conditional zoning district that's approved for a convenience storage facility. Traffic along 42 East at this location is 8,600 vehicles per day. This is a 2021 count. And for Thanksgiving Fire Road, it is 900 vehicles per day, and this is a 2019 count. This portion of 42 does appear on our comprehensive transportation plan as a boulevard needing improvement. And the area is located in a secondary growth plan as per our comprehensive land use plan. Be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Will this stimulate any kind of requirement from DOT as far as turn lanes?
Once we've seen the development requirements, it very well may. We would look to divert any or eliminate or prevent any access directly on the 42, and we would like that coming off Thanksgiving.
They're in the process of changing that to a 4-way stop, aren't they? I think so.
That is my understanding.
Yep. Okay.
All right, any other questions? All right, if we could have the applicant come forward. Hello, Ms. Bedingfield, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you all for having some time for us this evening. My name is Emily Bedingfield, 328 East Main Street. I'm an urban planner, and I am the Planning and Entitlement Manager for Lipscomb Development. As such, I'm here as the applicant for this request. As staff explained, it's covering 3 different parcels at the intersection of 42 and Thanksgiving Fire Road. I just wanted to make a few notes about sort of the reasonings why I think that the proposed rezoning is appropriate for this particular piece of property. To me, the most important factor is something that staff noted, which is, of course, consistency with the adopted future land use plan and the associated future land use map that goes along with that. Of course, that map identifies this property as neighborhood center and was adopted back in 2005. That means that for 18 years, it has been the vision of this county that that particular intersection be developed as commercial development. So rezoning the properties, as has been done on the northwest corner, is simply an implementation of something that has been a vision for quite some time. I know, looking at the draft versions of the land use plan that are under development, that we continue to share that vision moving forward, that the development of that site should be and will be commercial development ultimately. As we all know, residential growth in the area has been explosive and steady and continuous. Commensurate with that always comes increased demand for more commercial services and commercial development, and I feel that this would do a lot to move in that direction and provide needs to our county residents. So we have the properties have been identified in our adopted land use plan as being commercial development and would be supported by the general business rezoning district. And we also see a pattern developing at that intersection already. As staff mentioned, there is a plan in place for development of the northwest corner of the intersection, It has been rezoned and will be developed to a retail use and mini storage, which is consistent with general business zoning standards. I also want to point out, and I know general rezonings are not at all based on specific uses or proposed businesses or any intent in that way, but I want to point out that part of the ownership of this project is Hudson's Hardware owners, and it is their intent that if the rezoning is approved, they would like to develop a hardware site at that intersection. And I bring that up as an example, not to say exactly what is going to go there, but more so to say that general business zoning at this intersection is going to facilitate businesses like a Hudson's Hardware, which could locate at this site. It's also important to note that a Hudson's Hardware would not be allowed to develop under some of the other business zoning districts that are in the Johnston County Code. They have pretty low thresholds for square footage allowances, and Hudson's Hardware far exceeds many of those very low thresholds. So general business zoning is really a great choice for this particular intersection based on those standards. I wanted to point out also, we have done some due diligence to determine feasibility of development at the site. Of course, there's not a sewer line in this part of the county, so one of the first things we did was hire a soil scientist to go out and test the soils and ensure that we have adequate septic capability to develop the site as commercial. We received the analysis back and determined that we do have adequate soils to generally develop the site as commercial, and of course that would be further resolved and determined as site plans and development plans are created. We've also discussed the site with North Carolina Department of Transportation. As always, the extent of things like turn lanes or other improvements at other intersections are determined once we submit a detailed site plan. With that, very well may come the requirement for a traffic impact analysis, which, to answer your question, Mr. Godwin, would certainly answer whether or not there would be turn lane requirements or things of that nature, and we're fully anticipating that moving forward. Also, in our conversations with DOT, they did confirm that it would be a four-way stop. At the end of last year, when I spoke with Mr. Lawhorn, he noted that that would be May of this year is what the latest that they would expect that to be in place. I thought that sounded great because we know that four-way stops greatly enhance safety at intersections, and by developing the site in a commercial way, we're clearly going to be drawing more vehicles, more traffic to the intersection, and anything we can do to enhance safety there will be fantastic. So in summary, that's all I had. Like I said, just wanted to make a few notes as to our reasoning so you knew why we were standing before you this evening. I'm happy to answer any questions, and again, thank you very much for your time.
Any questions for Ms. Bedingfield?
I'll just comment, they're working on that four-way stop now.
Oh, currently?
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you so much.
They're already out there.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak, please come forward. All right, seeing none, I will close the public discussion and call for Mr. Newton to come forward and summarize and present the planning board's recommendations.
Sir, as it relates to case 22-32, the planning board does recommend approval and submits for your consideration a statement of consistency.
All right. Any questions or need for clarification? All right, I will close the public hearing and turn it over to the board for...
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt the statement of consistency resolution as presented in the agenda package and approve the rezoning request.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, this brings us to case 2233, conditional zoning district hearing. So I will open that hearing now, and Mr. Newton, I will ask you for background information.
Yes, sir. Case 22-33, petition to rezone 43/100 of an acre located at 15219 NC 39 in O'Neill's Township from agricultural residential community business conditional zoning district. The owner is Lisa Jan Landis, and the applicant is the same, and Nathan Landis. Conditional zoning request is to permit the retail sale of portable wooden utility sheds. The existing land use, or existing and surrounding land uses are primarily agricultural residential uses. And the proposed use here, once again, is a utility, for sale utility wooden utility sheds. Traffic concerns on Highway 39 at this location is 5,200 vehicles per day. That's a 2021 count. And this does appear on our CTP as an existing boulevard needing improvement. As the land use plan goes, this isn't a primary growth area. And you will see a list of conditions in your board packet included in the staff report as well. In addition to that, the applicant has provided an updated site plan for your pleasure, and it is an 11 by 17 at each of your seats. This evening, I'll allow them to elaborate more on that.
All right, any questions for Mr. Newton? All right.
This came in as a complaint.
Yes, sir, it did come in as a complaint. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Newton. And at this time, we would like to hear from the applicant regarding the request and proposed conditions.
We'll submit the conditions that y'all need, do our best to work through them. This project came in because Mr. Nathan Landis wanted to, he and his wife bought a lot behind this lot. You can see that on the plat. And they had a home there. They got the opportunity later to buy the lot in front of them. Nathan had been a used car dealer in Smithfield, and he'd been a used car dealer for, I think, 30 years. And he saw the opportunity to maybe put a used car lot there. Unfortunately, it was during COVID, so he went and got a letter, or his wife did, from the county, a temporary worker who was wrong, that said it was permissible to put a used car lot there. It was not. They needed to be rezoned, but they were doing the best they could. So he later, after she got COVID, his wife began to have severe progressive memory loss, and he now has an 87-year-old mother-in-law, 82-year-old mother, and two young children. It seemed like they were 4 and 7. Living in the house with his wife, and he needed something that was lower traffic, something that could keep him at the site, something he might do on the internet. He put in this sale of these sheds, which seem to be very popular in this area, thinking that he was correctly zoned. They have done very, very well. It allows him to stay home. It allows him to be right there. 90% of these sheds are sold on the internet. Probably most of y'all, being who you are, know the location. Okay, you know the location. You know that he basically started with a lot that looked like this when he bought it. Just a complete mess. Okay. It has. He's located it. It is located in an area which is right to the, you look at that area, it's right south of Mud Cats Field, okay? And it's right south of U.S. Foods, tremendous plant. And that's what you will see on these pictures of U.S. Foods, okay? There's a little gap in the county line of land there. That land is not a gap anymore. That land is,
Okay.
that land has
Thank you, Bob.
They've had approved 750 homes.
750 homes right there behind behind.
Mr. Spence, do you have, and I have to ask our staff, can we get it up on, if we get a hard copy, can you get that on the screen, or no? Yep. Do you have, if you don't, you can take this
I've got a
one.
bunch of pictures. I didn't want to put y'all.
Yeah.
Get a shot from the road.
While they're doing that, can I just keep on going?
Yes, yes. Please.
These are, this is right outside of Zebulon, okay? So you see there, you see 64 going through there. It's, going to be a high traffic area. The only area that's not is where, the home service. Here are pictures of some of the property developments right there. These are, Mudcat Stadium, I think is within 2,600 feet of his line. US food.
Give that one to you, yeah.
You can flip through there, you see Mudcat Stadium. We're trying to give you an idea of the area, and I know that you probably know. There's a US Foods building. Here's a new development on number 3, where there are 750, not 800 homes going into that development. You can see that on your GIS looks like it's empty land. Well, it's not. That's because it's a high growth area. Right down from him, there's a nursery stand. Right across the street from him on number 5 is a church. It's very active. There's garage and building. Local businesses, another larger church, down from him as you go into Johnston County. But the main thing is this is really on the edge of Zebulon, so it's right on the edge of the Wake County zoning, and there it is. And then the corridor plan on page 28, I don't know about the new one or the proposed one, but on page 30 shows this as a high traffic area. Here's what it looks like. Keep giving you these displays.
Thank you.
If you would.
This is highway.
Do you mind handing one to the staff? Yeah, thank you.
The first picture is Highway 39 looking towards, on the other side of that hill is Mudcat. You can see here he has buildings flagged a lot. So when I went out there to picture this months ago, this is the location. There's a look. Some of these buildings are now gone. There's the entrance to the lot. It's neatly paved. It's got a little gazebo in the front. You see the church across the street on number 4. On number 5, you can see the organization of the sheds. Now, if you're going out of the lot on 5, the sheds to the left have been moved. So we're going to make that more of a parking area because it's close to the adjoining property. Problem is, adjoining property is a friendly neighbor, and his house is way away. So he could care less, frankly. But in any case, we have moved all but one of those sheds. The other shed will be moved tomorrow. I think your plat shows you the parking areas, both on to the right and to the left. You can see how the sheds are in there. These sheds are for demonstration purposes, but most people want to buy something they've seen. This is the office building. They have sewer at the house, not at the lot. It's on page, this is number 7. And number 8, you see the driveway extending to the house in the back. There's a fence separating their property to the south. And they have a pond right behind there, which can take in a lot of water, all along with vegetation and the lot next door considerably far away. We, as I said, have removed all those buildings, except for one, which moves tomorrow. We can move it, it's a lot cheaper to move tomorrow. So somebody wants to buy it. Probably don't have a.
Here, you can take that one. I'll look at the picture.
Yeah.
So that gives you a basic view of it. Again, I think the important thing is this is it's 2,000 feet from the south wall of the U.S. building, U.S. Foods building. That's how urban this area is. It is 2,800 feet from the Mudcat Stadium. It's 1,200 feet from the Wake County line. Diagonally across from the church, it's in the high growth area. It is currently agricultural residential, and we're asking to move it into conditional zoning for community business. And we think it well comply on that. It is a very viable business. I noticed he just got award for Salesman of the Year for these sheds. There's a high demand for it in there. Most of the neighbors have bought one or gotten one. Got any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Penn?
You're good with the conditional?
Yes, we're good with conditional zoning. And we'll work to test the conditions, you know. If you pass it, we'll see what DOT says.
Okay.
But this place has about one customer a day, or two customers that show up on the site. And again, the buildings aren't being moved out of there much either, because they're mostly bought on the internet and they're delivered direct. In other words, you see what the shed's gonna be, they get on the internet, order it directly from the factory, and the factory delivers it direct. So it's just ideal for the area, because you couldn't have a business that's lower traffic. And it's very functional, and it is truly a community business, because everybody wants one of these sheds, as I'm sure y'all are aware. And that's why he's done so well. Thank you.
So, I did have some questions. Good. So we have two drawings here, and yeah, let's see. This I have this one, and then more of a sketch. So, which one?
Okay.
I show so one shows an access easement.
The access easement is the road that goes in. Okay. See, that's
right.
And it's here too. It's just one a different way. Okay. So that is the access easement. We had a survey at the planning board meeting. Okay. For the planning board meeting, he didn't know how to do a site plan.
Will you go back to the microphone?
Yes,
Yeah, sorry.
He didn't know how to do the site plan.
He's pointed this one right
Okay,
now.
I couldn't get the site plan from him. We didn't have time, so I hand drew it myself. Okay, so you see the badly drawn one, that's what it is. I want to get something in so the planning board know what we're doing.
Okay.
And then Jimmy Barber, though, we had to have some
Right.
conversation about what a site plan is, but he did a site plan and got it to me this week.
So our I guess the existing conditions that are the conditions that they propose right now says 16. And if I'm looking at this thing right on the drawing that Mr. Barber did, I count 11 structures plus the office, so 12 structures. I'm assuming the other 11 are buildings on it, but also show a couple things I see. It's in the access. You've got some located in the access easement, if I'm looking at it right. And then it looks like you're proposing to put the structure basically right up against the right-of-way. So I don't know, there's not some front, so there's not a front buffer. Yeah, so there's the right-of-way as I see it, and you've got buffers.
Here's your right of way here, here's your road right here.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry. So you got three.
The buffer area here, we moved all the structures off so they split the buffer. And see, this area's buffered this way, okay? So it's buffered every way, and this is house and back.
So I guess what can y'all see, this is the one not the other one, is the one I'm looking at, Ben. I'm looking at this one.
I don't believe that I have that.
Okay. So I guess my question is, what you show now and what I saw in some of the pictures where there's structures up against the right-of-way, and unless I missed, there's no buffer along the right-of-way, and I just want to make sure.
The highway right-of-way?
Yes.
Yes, well, we've moved most of them back, okay?
Well, I'm just saying, there's not, and when I looked in the buffer, I didn't see any buffer requirement. They're drawn for the back, or actually the two sides, not even the back. It says 20-foot setback from the back, too. But should there not be a buffer along Highway 39? That's what I'm seeing.
Buffer along highway.
So 16 seems like a lot. When you got 11 drawn on here, 16 seems like a lot.
That's why they
to cram
approved,
into that.
and I got this turned in at on Monday, I think, Braxton, with some difficulty. Okay, getting it drawn. So they approved 16. We thought that was the maximum we'd put on the site. Since that time, we wanted to put more parking over to the right as you drive in, okay? And all those buildings have been moved off. Okay, so we may use considerably less than 16. You know how many you got out there now? That's 12.
Okay.
And it does note a 20-foot buffer on 39 on the application.
It does note it, so it's just not on this drawing? Okay. So I guess, let me ask council this, so can I ask Braxton to clarify on what buffers are required? Because the drawing I'm looking at doesn't have buffers, and I just want to make sure we're,
Number 8 has a Class B on all.
Okay, I just want to make sure what we're approving matches the drawings that we've got, and understand there was trouble getting them.
So yes, we received the plan you have, the revised plan on Friday. So that's why you did not have it in your packet. So there is a setback for NC 39, and once you've changed, if the zoning district is changed, that'd be a 40-foot building setback from the edge of the right-of-way. To be included in that setback, there will be a planted buffer, and that will be at least a type A street buffer, and the remaining buffers, planted buffers around the property, will be a type B.
Okay, and I mean, so it looks like there's a side buffer area, and I can't tell if that's 20 feet. Is it 20 feet on the sides and?
Should be 20 feet on the side, and then the front Class A, which is a Class A buffer, 15 feet for the front along 39.
Okay.
However,
All right, just want to make sure, and then if it's an access easement, is that, it says access includes easement and highway right-of-way. Are there allowed to be structures within?
Not within the
access?
easement, no, sir.
Okay, so what we're talking about, we're narrowing this thing down even more.
Yes. As part of your conditions, we will require a fully developed site plan for review and approval by our TRC.
So I hate to get into the weeds, but it's hard for me to visualize all this incomplete drawing.
I imagine how much trouble we had getting this drawing.
Well, I'm sure, but we've got to make a decision on the drawing that's incomplete, and I understand we've got languages different in places, so I'll let the rest of the board decide, but it seems like, to me, it's very confusing what we're actually going to approve without having that in front of us, and I'd like to have a better version of what we're looking at, but I'm only one, but.
Okay.
But yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to move on so we can get to the end, so I'm going to set that down. Yeah, come. If you would come back up here.
You got the 20-foot buffers on each side, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is shown on the plat.
Yep.
Okay. You're concerned mainly about what?
So we don't see the buffer on the highway side, and I see one on the back, but I don't see any landscaping details to show what that is.
He did not put any he did put what the landscape.
Words.
We've got that in condition, but he did not draw it on there. I had some trouble getting it done. I mean,
I understand.
he came a long way. I think Braxton got the original one I got, which was a complete mess.
Yeah.
So these things aren't.
Yeah, I just think for this board when the information comes to this board, it needs to be complete for us to make a decision rather than making assumptions that things are going to be changed in the way that you describe them may not wind up the way it's on the drawing, so.
Well, the conditions do say what the landscape will be.
The conditions.
I understand.
We'll have to do the conditions.
Yeah, but I don't see on the drawing we're approving, I mean, to me, it's a total package, it's not.
We're approving the conditions, right?
You would have liked the trees to have been there, right?
I would like to see a complete drawing. I don't know how to say it any different than that. This is an incomplete drawing that I'm looking at tonight. So that's, again, I'm only 1 of 7, so the board can do it, but I do want to move on unless somebody else has any other questions.
I will say that I emailed Braxton last week and told him I may need him to do a phone call with the surveyor because I couldn't get what I got. Okay, I got this, okay, and the next morning, so that was good. I was asking him that he might help me on the phone, show him what it's, explain the site plan, okay? But when we got this, I took it. It's so much better than what I had before.
I agree, Mr. Chairman. In some instances, drawings are important to visualize and understand what's going on. But in this case, I think the written conditions are fairly self-explanatory.
Again, I'm only one of 7, so
We understand what you said, so, Mr. Chairman. We understand your concerns.
okay.
Didn't say we agree with them, we understand.
I honestly think they're just missing that verbiage. If I trace this box right here, the 20-foot, it's listed here, listed here. I honestly think the verbiage is just not there on the front, by the way I read it.
Okay, and I'm looking at the conditions.
You know, I think,
I'm looking at the conditions now, so if you can, I see it will conform to all things, so I guess that would include the buffers. The only thing I see as the buffer is the Class B. I don't see where that's, it says along all property lines, so, but it don't tell me what that buffer is, but I'm good.
we require buffers in an area that highway traffic will.
Are we in the
yeah, want
discussion
to see it.
portion, Mr. Chairman? Or?
Are we in that, are we there?
Just hold on, I've got it, appreciate your help, I got it.
No, I just asked the question.
I got it, yeah, so I'm getting my questions clarified.
Okay.
So if you let me get my questions clarified, we can move on. Thank you. So I guess now, is there no other questions? We did get a letter of opposition in from Janetta Brown and neighbors, which objects to, I'm not going to read the whole letter, but basically they're objecting to this rezoning on for several reasons. So I'll put that up there. Any other public comments? Sure. If you got time for other public comments, so come on up.
My name is Nathan Landis. I live at 15219 US NC 39 Highway, Zebulon, North Carolina, 27597. First of all, I would like to thank this honorable board for hearing me. Second of all, let me say this, like they told me in the military, when a man says jump, I say how high on the way up. So whatever the county expects me to do, I'm going to do it. Because honestly, this is way bigger than just having a business. My wife doesn't recognize me anymore. She don't even know where she's at most of the time. And I did before she got sick. We did, because with a car dealership, you have to have a zoning letter for the DMV inspector. And she went over. She was given a letter saying we could have up to 35 cars per acre. And when I saw the other businesses on 39, I just took that. So we took that letter to Inspector Crawford, and he was ready to approve us for a car dealership. So ended up, we all got COVID. My right-hand man, been with me 20 years, died, and I didn't want to fool with cars anymore. I was just getting over COVID, so I wanted to, at that point, it was more about necessity because of the folks I have to take care of. Mr. Chairman, I understand your concern, but I'm looking you in the eye, and I'll tell you I'm a man of my word. And I will do whatever I have to do, that I can be there with my wife and family to take care of her while she does remember me some. We have an A+ Better Business rating. We have a 5-star Google rating. We've had churches, farmers, schools all buy from us. And Bob was wrong about one thing. He said at sales award, we were there for 11 months last year, and Liberty, who is a statewide company with 26 dealers, voted us the Dealer of the Year. Not because so much of our sales, but because of our commitment to the people here of Johnston County to give them the best product we can for the best money. I apologize for these drawings. I've spent thousands of dollars with people trying to get the right drawing, and I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. So I'll do whatever I have to do. I'll spend whatever amount of money I have to spend. I'll do whatever I got to do. So I just wanted to say that. And I want to say this too. I don't blame anybody at the county for giving us the letter. When the enforcement man came out, he explained to me that there was temp workers working there during COVID, and that we shouldn't have been given the letter. Now, I don't blame the county at all. I'm not upset with the county. It's nothing like that. I'm just here to plead my case and ask for your forgiveness, basically, on coming in prior to doing all this. That was never my intention. I'm a law-abiding citizen, and I want to do the right thing. And as I said, you say jump, and I'll say how high. Or you say, right, you say jump, and I'll say how high. Thank you for your time this evening. I appreciate I appreciate the way the county's treated me through this. The county has done right by me, and I want to say thank you.
I have a question, Mr. Landis.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any idea how many units you moved in and out of there last year?
Not a great deal, because I looked at the numbers today, and 87% of what we do is ordered. So we don't have a great deal of traffic. I don't have a lot of truck traffic. I mean, there's businesses through there that have 50.
When you say ordered, you mean they're delivered from some other location?
Yes, sir. They're built at the factory, and then they're delivered from the factory straight to the customer.
I got you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? All right, if not, I will close the public discussion and then ask Mr. Newton to come forward and summarize and present the planning board's recommendation.
Sir, as it relates to case 22-33, Planning Board does recommend approval with the 13 conditions as listed in your staff report.
All right, and I did have a question. So staff, both directions, staff is okay with the language and the drawing. I just know that I've seen cases where the two don't agree and something changes and we wind up in a dispute. So I just want to make sure we're good with what we've got in front of us.
We are, just because we've listed it as a condition, and they have to submit a sufficient site plan for review.
Okay. Yeah, I just, for future reference for applicants, please, not please, bring a complete set of drawings so we can look at it that match up instead of incomplete, and we've got to look at one thing and try to figure out what it says. So I'll just add that for future folks. All right, any other questions for Mr. Newton?
Was there any opposition at the planning board meeting?
We had, there was one resident who was, I think it was the resident who provided the letter of use.
And I will just say for the record, Mr. Spence did state that he would comply with all 13 conditions. So I just want to make sure I didn't ask that formally, but thank you for getting that in. So actually, I got it in the right spot. So, all right, I will close the hearing and I will turn it over to the board for discussion.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion, but I'm gonna say something first. Anybody who's traveled down that road and seen what it was and what it is now, and we're talking about 0.43 acres, that site, it was a terrible site. And so bureaucracy sometimes has to wait. But Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt the statement of consistency resolution as presented in the agenda packet and approve the rezoning request with the conditions as discussed for case 22-33.
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I do.
You do what?
No.
Okay, we got one. All right. So 6 to 1. And I did vote for it because staff said that we were okay. So
I didn't understand. It's his privilege, but you know.
yeah,
I'll explain it later.
yeah,
In this meeting.
yeah. So let me see where we are then. So now we'll move on to case 2234. And I will open the conditional zoning district hearing and ask Mr. Newton to present the case background, and we'll have any discussion we need to.
Yes, sir. Case 22-34 is petition to rezone 66.11 acres located on Williford Road in Bentonville Township from agriculture residential to industrial 2 conditional zoning. This property, this 66 acres is over three tracts of land. The owner is K Farms Incorporated, and the applicant is Blue Water Sand and Gravel Incorporated. The conditional zoning request is to request a specific use of a sand pit or a mining or extraction operation. The land uses surrounding this property are agriculture, primarily agriculture and residential purposes, and I-2 SUD, which is, sorry, is there a problem?
No, I don't think so yet. Just keep going.
So the I-2 SUD, which is an existing sand pit or mining operation, and this is across the road from this operation. It is operated by the same company. As you might expect, Williford Road does have very little traffic. That's 150 vehicles per day, and that's a 2015 count. And it does not appear on our CTP as needing improvement, and property is located in an agriculture rural conservation area, as noted in a comprehensive plan. You will see 13 conditions in addition to those that are specific use conditions.
Is the applicant here? That was what I was asking before. I couldn't see, but.
Applicant was here at one point.
Yeah, let's check the hall. So, but proceed on, assuming it's going to come on in. So.
No one. So the applicant is not here to be.
Yep. All right. So, what is the pleasure? Typically, if the applicant's not here, we postpone it.
Move it to the next one, sir.
Yep. Do I hear a motion? Do I hear a motion to postpone it to our?
I'd so move.
Second.
Do we know he didn't just run to the restroom? Do we know who it was?
We'll hang on. We'll give him another minute here, but.
Maybe he went to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Captain, can you see if you see anybody?
We'll just hate to move on and then he'll walk right back in.
Yeah.
That happened in a planning board meeting.
So what is the next date that we could do it on? The 20th? March the 6th? Okay.
We rezoned property very close to this, last year, didn't we?
Yes, sir.
So we're saying good.
I think it's just an expansion of what they are.
It is an expansion. And there's another.
Is that right?
Another off to the east. Just to the east.
I would love to have some of that sand on my land right now. Ain't nothing up there.
All right. So do I hear a motion to postpone to our March 6th evening meeting?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Postpone till March the 6th. All right. I think that brings us to our item number 4, the comprehensive transportation plan consultant selection. So, Mr. Newton, if you want to open us up on that, or you want me to?
I'll be glad to, yes, sir. So we had released an RFQ for our comprehensive transportation plan. And in doing so, we did receive responses from 3 qualifying firms. These are Kimley Horn, McAdams, and Stantec. And we did, and you have provided for you evaluations of each of those responses by 4 individuals, myself, Neil Davis with JCATS, Sam Lawren with the District 3 NCDOT out of Goldsboro, and James Simons, who is kind of plays a dual role right now and as the interim director of Coastal Plain RPO and is on staff with NCDOT in their transportation planning division. And I'll submit those for consideration.
All right, I did have some thoughts on this. When looking through the scoring and the results, and again, I think staff is going to be the one working with this consultant that we select. We had 2 in Kimley Horn and McAdams who had fairly close scores, and it's my understanding that those were scores based on just a review of the written statement of qualifications. It did not include an actual presentation by any of the submitters. And I would propose that this board bring in those top 2 who were close together, and let's do a presentation, or have them do a presentation to, not this board, but I'm willing to be on it. And I think Commissioner Godwin said he would be, since he's on the U.S., he actually represents the RPO, us to the RPO, and is also on the U.S. 70 corridor, that we bring that in and be part of a larger committee to evaluate the 2, which is Kimley Horn and McAdams, based on, and with other committees members who you would select.
Does staff have a preference? The reason
I would
asked
say
that
just based
question-
on scoring, he had a preference.
Based on my scoring, McAdams was our choice.
Well, I see us all the time when the tax office comes in and says for continuity and the capability of working with the staff, we just continue a contract, or we just award the contract. We do the same thing with the auditing and whatever. Why do we need to go any further? If staff has a preference here, why can't we get to choose? I'm just asking.
So I would just say, based on being in that industry, I mean, there were a lot of, from what I read, there were questions that weren't answered. So I would like to make sure we get the questions answered. Yeah, so based on the comments I saw in the evaluations, is there's questions and probably things we need to clarify to make sure that we understand exactly. And personally, I like the face-to-face to be able to talk and ask questions. So
I just suggest that we do it as soon as we can, instead of dragging it out.
So do we need a motion to do that, or can we just direct staff? Okay, so if you'll set up a meeting, and Commissioner Godwin and myself would be serving on the committee, and staff selects the rest of the committee for us to do those evaluations. And as Commissioner Godwin said, let's do it sooner rather than later. But we need to give them some time to prepare, so I would say that's probably going to at least be 30 days to be ready to do that and do it in a very professional way. So
We'll shoot for a target first week of March.
okay. All right. So now we go to the comprehensive land use plan, and I know that I think each of us have spent time either with Mr. Newton or sent in our information. So I don't know that there's, unless you have comments, and Mr. Newton, if you have any comments on anything yet, the next step will be to get that summarized and.
No, sir. For all those that have provided comments, both written and verbal, the discussions were great. I appreciate those very much, and we do thank you for that. So what we have compiled those commonalities and those differences, and we are sending those to the consultant, and we will be having a meeting with the consultant in the coming days. So we get started to work on possible amendments to the draft plan, and as well as the future land use map, and we'll be prepared to bring those back very shortly.
All right. Any questions or comments from the board? Thank you for taking your time and reviewing that and getting the comments back in. So with that, I'll go on to the next item. Mr. Hester, do you have a manager report for us?
One thing, Mr. Chairman, board members. Johnston County has been a part of an agreement for the last 3 or 4 years with several of our triangle partners, Wake County, Durham County, DOT, North Carolina Railroad, on this commuter rail study. And so the request is they would like to extend this memorandum of understanding just 1 more year. There's no more money involved in it for Johnston County, and I would recommend that we extend the agreement, be a part of this agreement for 1 more year just to study. That's all. So if I could get some kind of just okay, then we can sign that and send that back off to them. So
what's the wishes of the board?
Just to work an agreement.
I think it's important that we have a place at the table and it's not costing any more money. I think we need to continue that.
I agree. All right. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Board reports and comments. I started here. We'll do this today. Mr. Godwin.
I do. If you'll bear with me just a moment. This was an article in a newspaper, and I'll try to summarize as quick as I can. But some folks who reside near a town here in the county, over the prospect of a new company, a plant, invading the rural neighborhood, they witnessed the impact of a nearby plant, and they're apprehensive about the possibility of increased truck traffic, noise, air pollution, as well as visual pollution. Unfortunately for the residents, there's little local government can do about the situation. That town decided last year not to extend land use zoning beyond the town's corporate limits, and the county of Johnston has not yet embarked on a program of selected land use zoning for rural areas vulnerable to conflicts between residents and commercial development. This town story is just one more incident demonstrating the value of citizen-controlled land use planning. By working out in advance compatible uses of adjacent properties through the democratic process of local government, many problems accompanying the development of Johnston County by business and industry could be avoided. But so long as our elected representatives at the courthouse and in the town halls remain fearful that the mere mention of the word zoning carries political liabilities, we will continue to see cases where a group of residents stands to have their properties devalued. This was an editorial in a local paper in July 1982. Obviously, that was before countywide zoning. But it really hit home with me when you look at these places that we're looking at here that's had zoning in place with a particular theme in mind, a direction for that neighborhood, and people come in from outside and want to upset it or change it. I'm real hesitant to do that unless there's total buy-in from the local community. And if there's not, that was the whole point of going to that zoning to start with. And if we totally ignore it, what good was it? It's just my comments. That's why I voted against that. If they'd been there 100 years and predated zoning, that might have been a different story.
Thank you for that. No, sir, I'm good. Thank you.
I'm not going to comment to that. As the Board of Commissioners will remember that we started a fire matrix going forward for fire departments, and that we had a meeting this past week, Vice Chairman, myself, and the committee and the staff. So I think that we have scheduled for a presentation by the chairman of that committee for next meeting, March 6th. March 6th, and so he'll be making a presentation of what the findings are, and based on the motion that was made, budget motion, in regard to what has happened now. So just for your information.
All right, thank you. Mr. Stevens?
Mr.
Smith?
Was reading the Triangle Business Journal email today, and state of North Carolina, saw an article, the state of North Carolina just bought 1,100 acres in Johnston County for the Mountain to Sea Trail in eastern Johnston County. Just thought I'd let you know that.
So was that part of the Triangle Land Conservancy bought that land into the, but then the state bought it from Triangle Land Conservancy? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I don't have anything. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Tony?
Thank you. We'll see you next time.